Hi and welcome. So today I want to talk to you about that invisible layer, that sort of film that's holding you back from feeling at ease in your body and around food. And it's really the key to resolving your emotional eating. So if you're new here, welcome. My name is Michelle. I'm a certified holistic nutritionist specializing in emotional eating. I wanted to talk about this because I think we all walk around when we emotionally eat feeling like we're living life with this layer on us. And sometimes it might feel like there's a layer physically if we've, sort of have health issues or weight gain or inflammation, or we feel like there's this barrier. There are these limiting beliefs, these walls, these things holding us back from fully being who we are. And we're almost fighting or we're almost moving through life with the brakes on. And so this is a feeling that's really prevalent among the women that I work with. It was something that I felt as well. And if you're someone that wants to go after your goals and your dreams and your ambitions, you really feel this layer because it's like you're trying to take a step forward and you get pulled back. And so when we're emotional eaters, it's almost like we have this layer, this goo. I remember back to sort of my big rock bottom and thinking that if I just I move away, I was living in Toronto, if I moved to Korea, if I changed jobs, so I was an analytical chemist, if I decided to go into teaching, if I just sort of blew up my life and changed everything because it didn't matter what I was doing with food or my body, maybe things would shift. I could get rid of this layer, this goo. I could finally move forward. And that just threw me back into my emotional eating even more. And it was like every step I was taking in my life, it felt like I had this layer of just feeling not good in my body, almost feeling like that goo in my body, just feeling like that discomfort in my body, that discomfort in my life. It was so thick. It was so tangible. So I physically felt it and I could see it showing up in my life. And when we emotionally eat, that's how we're living life. We're almost living life with this layer, because if we're not moving through our emotional eating, it means we're out of touch with food, our body, and our emotions. We're disconnected. And so how can we fully live life and be present if we are disconnected? And so we have to ask ourselves, what are we willing to do to move past this when the old solutions of, all the diets and the pills and the surgeries and, using different modalities is not getting us to that core, to actually feeling at ease, feeling free in ourselves. And so when I talk to women, they try so many things and they might think if they lose the weight, so they go to extremes, they use pills or surgeries, and still there's that layer. Or, they do some therapy or they do work on that and it's still that layer, it's not going away. And so we need an approach that is holistic, that's looking at all of these layers, because it's not just one layer. This one layer is made out of many layers. And that's why when I work with clients and we move through the emotional eating evolution program, we're looking at 3 main layers with our food, our body, and our emotions. Because if we just let's say have a healthy relationship to food, we haven't looked at our emotional eating. If we don't look at our emotions, we're not looking at our relationship to food or our body, and we're not catching all the layers, and we'll feel like we're still chasing something and we don't understand what's really going on. And so this is a really disempowering place to be in. And I totally get it, because I was trying everything to help me. And because I didn't understand the layers that were happening, it's almost like you're just reaching for the next thing. You're like, does this make sense? Maybe I should try this. And while I love experimenting, I have a background in science, I love experimenting, and I tell my clients to experiment to experience change. We can't spend our whole lives just going out and just trying every single thing without a rhyme or a reason, or without a deeper understanding of this pattern, because I see women who are stuck in this pattern for decades. And for me, that's sad, because when we're stuck in this pattern, it means our thoughts and our energy is devoted to obsessive thoughts about food, our body, of, sort of pushing things away, and we're trying to move forward, but we're moving forward in a really sort of chaotic way. So we might be able to move forward in our life, but it's not easeful, it's not peaceful, it's not all of us is aligned. And so there is this sort of, you could say, invisible layer, this thing we're wearing, but it consists of so many other layers. And so in order to move through this, to start feeling at ease in our body and around food, we need to work through each of these layers, because emotional eating is a multi-layered. And so we need to start working through layers around our relationship to food, our relationship to our body, and our relationship to our emotions. And when we shift these areas, the way we can tell this layer is dissolving is that we don't feel that restriction and like we're going through life with the brakes on, which is sort of that stress and that discomfort in our body. We feel more ease and peace, and we can physically feel this with our nervous system. We go from fight or flight to rest and digest. And in fight or flight, we are turning on disease, and we are turning on stress, we're turning on weight gain, we're turning on and turning off our immune system. But when we're in ease and peace, rest and digest, our digestion is better, our health is better, we will release weight we no longer need. And, these are just symptoms of the deeper issues of our emotional eating when we move through those layers around food, our body, and our emotions. And so what we're actually doing is shifting from, let's say, around food, a really restrictive mentality around food or confusion around food. What should we do? There's so many food rules, not nourishing our body, to shifting to a way that's nourishing our body, meeting our true needs, connecting to food. And this helps us see where our emotional eating triggers are at. We're also connecting to our hunger cues in our body. When we shift from, sort of punishing our body and feeling shame around our body where it's at, we shift to a more accepting way of being with our body. Acceptance is not loving or liking our body. It's a neutral space where we're no longer criticizing ourselves. And from here, we can create appreciation. We can honor our body's rhythms and rituals and stop that shame spiral that triggers us into emotional eating. And then with the emotional layer, this is where we're looking at the ways we have avoided our emotion. Our emotions are so key to getting in touch with our deeper truth of what's true for us, also in touch with our limiting beliefs, so that we can start seeing what's been going on in our life. And when we shift this, we're looking at these unresolved emotions, these traumas that live in our body, and meeting our true needs, creating resolution so we can move forward in a powerful way where we're no longer just using food as a band-aid, but meeting our true needs. So we're showing up in our lives authentically. And when we start meeting our true needs and resolving these deeper emotions, we start feeling peace and ease in our body. It's almost like when we're going through a stressful time in our life, our shoulders are tight. But when we create resolution, our shoulders drop. That's happening in our body because our body is holding on to all of this. And so we have limiting beliefs around food, our body, our emotions that we need to shift out of and resolve. And so this is how we start removing that layer. We start feeling at ease. We start feeling peace around food and in our body and in our life. And then we can use that clear space, that presence, to be available to our kids, to our partners, to our career, to our ambitions, our goals. And, that might seem really big right now, but the discomfort of just obsessing about food and your body, that doesn't need to be that way. You don't need to constantly be thinking about that. You can take care of your body and have an amount of concern of your body and what you're eating to care for yourself, but not into this obsessive craving space. And so this is what we do inside of the Emotional Eating Evolution program, step by step, with a methodology, with coaching and accountability, in-depth somatic meditation sessions to move through this at the root. And so if this is something that is resonating for you, I'd love to invite you to check out more about the Emotional Eating Evolution program. You can also book in an emotional eating clarity call. On the call, we find out more about you, what your goals are, and how we can support you in the program. So you can find those links below. And if you have any questions about what I've shared, please let me know. Please be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't. And I look forward to sharing more with you. And I hope you have a great day.